Turning pages. It all started one night at Redfish Lake and Sawtooth National Recreation Area, like most good ideas do, over a glass of bourbon. A group there looked up at the sky that night and they saw all the stars and they said, "We can do this." This was creating the Central Idaho Dark Sky Reserve in 2017, about 3 years after the first conservation. Now, the reserve is about 1,400 square miles that stretches from Sun Valley to beyond Stanley and encompasses several wilderness areas. It was the first and remains the only such reserve in the United States. And the goal was to preserve the natural night sky for current and future generations. This being International Dark Sky Week, we wanted to learn more about this special place from one of the men involved in the initial conversation that night at Redfish Lake. Matt Benjamin spent 15 years teaching astronomy and running the planetarium at the University of Colorado in Boulder. But he's been coming to Idaho since he was just 6 months old. And he has a home just outside of Ketchum, and he serves on the board of the Idaho Conservation League. Matt explains to us why Central Idaho's Dark Sky Reserve is so unique.
If you're not used to it being that dark and that many stars, the darkness can be intimidating. And I think that's part of it. Plus, they'll see things they've never seen before. A lot of people from cities don't ever see the Milky Way. And when they see the Milky Way, it hits them emotionally. It never gets old for me as someone who spent years teaching astronomy and especially teaching the public is those emotional connections to seeing nature in its most pristine state.
This Dark Sky Reserve in Central Idaho, it seems like it's a perfect spot for it.
Yeah. When you look at sort of a light pollution map, there's a lot of great satellite images that show light pollution across the US. And there's very few purely dark spots left. So geographically speaking, it just made sense. It was also what the Sawtooth Valley is by day that I think made it just this perfect spot, because it's arguably one of the most gorgeous places in the lower 48. And then by night, it sort of turns into this other thing of pristine darkness. And so I think the combination of those things make it just one of these most perfect spots to have a dark sky reserve.
The idea of setting up these reserves and keeping them this way, why is that so important?
A couple of the public lectures I would do was archaeoastronomy, which would be talking about astronomies of our ancient cultures. The sky was an anchor point. The heavens and their gods and everything was anchored to the cosmos and the heavens. And what I found so interesting is that we've lost that connection because of modern technology. When you understand your place in the cosmos, I think it also gives us a greater appreciation of Earth. It also helps us underscore how fragile our planet is, how unique life is on this planet. And there's just this richness that I think comes from being able to see the cosmos as it was intended to be seen.
It's a powerful thought there, and Dark Sky Week ends tomorrow night with the goal of limiting light pollution around the globe. There are only 20 dark sky reserves in the entire world, but pretty soon Idaho's Dark Sky Reserve won't be the only one in the country. Right now, they're currently in the process of turning a section of southern Colorado's St. Louis Valley into the Sangre de Cristo International Dark Sky Reserve. And Matt says it will dwarf the size of Idaho's.